G'day there guys, it's your Aussie Hubby Markee, back at it again with another r/legal advice episode. And with that said, I want you to chuck a prawn on the barbie and get ready for some bloody good legal advice. Our first post is by user LegalAdvice SEQUOIA, and that's right guys, this is tree law. Titled, Illinois, neighbor cut down a rare 150-year-old tree that has been in the family for generations. Recently, a great aunt of mine died, and we needed to spend a week in Washington state, and we asked a neighbor to take care of our 5 cats, 2 dogs, and 100 plus chickens. We came back this morning, and my parents had dropped me off at the school this morning straight from the airport before heading home. While my dad was inspecting the property, he noticed that our 150-year-old giant sequoia was gone. My great-great-grandfather had planted the tree after returning from California, and it's not native to northern Illinois, but with the right care, it can survive. You just have to be careful about the wind burn in winter. Now, the tree itself isn't that large because it's still young and the winter's here, like this one that won't end because we're having a fudging snow in April, stunt its annual growth. Upon the first confrontation, the neighbor admitted that he had cut it down, but upon further questioning, will say nothing/denies doing it all, and my parents really have no idea what to do from here, and I want to be able to help them. Neighbor cut down my mature tree. Stories on this subreddit in the past mounted to 5 to 6 figure lawsuits being won against the person who cut down the tree or trees. As mentioned, gather any photos of the tree as well as get an arborist in. That tree is likely worth a lot of money. Not the OP, but if they have an honest-to-God sequoia in their backyard, it being 150 years old means it's just a baby, as that breed of tree lives for about 3,000 years. It's still probably worth a fortune, and assuming OP is near Chicago, then its replacement will be very expensive, as recent winters have been very cold and very dry, which is exactly the weather that will kill young sequoias. It will probably need a ton of care for a minimum of 10 years in order for it to stick. Keep in mind, this is not expert opinion, going from what I remember from an NPS tour, and some quick reading. The difficulty in this case will not be proving massive damages, but rather proving that the neighbor is the one who did it. Someone had to remove it, and that someone was most likely paid. Shouldn't be impossible to call around the local tree removal services and work backwards. OP, this is a good idea. Start by asking your other neighbors if they saw a truck for a tree removal company. If the tree is worth as much as everyone is suggesting, I'm guessing that's why your neighbor retracted his initial admission of guilt. I hope you get tree justice. What is that, like felony vandalism? Also, that type of tree is protected by federal law, right? Holy crap, I'd pee myself and leave the country. It's not so much the criminal offense the neighbor is likely worried about, it's the insane amount of money they're going to owe in damages. Trees are worth a lot of money. This neighbor could easily be on the hook for $100,000 plus. Non-native, old, enormous, and endangered. You're aiming quite low. Yeah, I'm thinking closer to 7 digits if he earns up to it. Lawyer consultation time. Now. And an arborist too. Trees can be flippin' expensive, and your neighbor may be on the hook for 4, 5, or maybe even 6 figures depending. We had another post not too long ago, and I want to say that a neighbor did $600,000 in damage, though that was for a handful of trees. Illinois, like most Midwestern states, has a statute that makes what your neighbor did illegal and requires them to pay treble damages. The fact they admitted doing it should be admissible evidence. It's an exception to the general rule, prohibiting hearsay evidence because telling you that they committed this illegal was an admission against your neighbor's own interests. And now, update to the Illinois sequoia being chopped down. So a little bit of an update, but first I want to channel a little bit of r/data is beautiful here. After the post was locked, I received a total of 47 PMs. One was for an quote-unquote an offer for legal services. The user claims to have been banned already, and I'll be sending a report about him to the mod mail short enough. 3 offered some more basic advice after the post was locked, and the remaining 43 were asking for updates. You know who you are. So I'm doing you a favor by not reporting that to the mod mail, because I too, when I lurk here, are curious for updates, and for me personally, at least no harm was done. On to the real update. I don't have the full picture, I was tangentially involved after my original post at best. My parents ended up getting a lawyer, obviously, and it ended up growing to a team of 3 lawyers. It started with them billing hourly, but the guy ended up doing something to end up peeing them off so much that they switched over to being paid on contingency, and we got lawyers' costs included in our settlement. And for those of you saying follow the lumber, you ended up being right. There is a house in Michigan that will be constructed using lumber gained from our tree. I never did find out about his motive for cutting our tree, and apparently it's bad enough to get the "I'll tell you when you're older" phrase from my dad. But generally, it was good news. One day my dad came in all excited, saying about how we own him, we own his kids, and we own his grandkids. It turns out we are going to be getting 3 50-year-old sequoias instead of one big 150-year-old sequoia, because they will be easier to transport. My parents say that we will also plant a new sapling sequoia when I go off to college. It's still bittersweet though. We still don't have our tree back, the neighbor is going to have to sell his farm to pay for it all, and when it's all said and done, those 3 trees may not even survive through their first winter here anyway, and we are out of a monetary settlement that could have paid for college for both me and any children I may end up having. Our next post is by user Itchy Gap, titled, California, involved in accident caused by prank, very loud train horn on another car. I'd like to fight the ticket I'm guessing I'm going to get, and likely future lawsuit. California, using a throwaway, this happened yesterday. Driving down a 3-lane road. I am in the middle lane. Light ahead of us about 1/4 of a mile up turns red. Everyone starts slowing down, but still moving around 30 miles per hour. Douchebag in a ridiculous lifted truck to the right of me as a prank honks his horn. Not any horn, but a fudging train horn. Scares the crap out of me. Here is what happened. Horn goes off, it caused me to swerve and slam into the back of the car in front of me in the next lane over. Another car was hit by the car I hit. We're all in agreement that we do not know if he hit the car first or if I pushed him into the car, because he was equally scared and he slammed his brakes and left his lane when he heard the horn. Shockingly enough, the truck stuck around. MS Paint diagram of the situation. Alright, this has left me more confused. Cars are moving backwards in this situation. What is going on? No tickets were handed out to those of us in the accident, as the cops wanted to take their time concluding their investigation. But we were all told that tickets are coming. The guy in the truck did get a ticket for using his train horn, as that's illegal. My main question here, am I at fault here? What can I do to pin the cause of this on the guy in the truck with the super loud horn? Some quick googling says that his modification is illegal, as evidenced by the ticket that he received, but are his actions enough to make him at fault? Talk to your insurance company. It's very likely that they'll be paying for damage, and giving them a potential target to sue for subrogation is a good idea. They would pay for the damage and then sue the guy in the truck for the money they had to pay. Your insurance company has a better lawyer than you do, and this is part of what you pay them for. California is a pure comparative fault state. In short, that means that in a lawsuit, parties will litigate over what percentage of the fault for the accident each is responsible for, and then they will each need to pay their percentage of the damage. My guess is that this will fall somewhere in the realm of 50-50 between you and the train horn truck. But that is an uninformed guess. I'm a lawyer, but not in California, and I don't practice in this field of law. As for the traffic citation, I would relax. Even if the police do mail you a ticket, I can't imagine you not prevailing if you show up in court and explain the circumstances to the judge. I sit in courtrooms every day and watch judges toss out civil motor vehicle infractions with far worse facts than yours behind them. If you have a clean driving record, even better. Tell the judge that. If you don't have a clean driving record, stay mum about your history. The judge can't consider this propensity evidence unless you invite her to. You left one important consideration out of your question. Can your insurance company hike your rates up because of this? Unfortunately, I believe the answer to this is yes, even if you don't get a traffic citation, though see my earlier disclaimer. Not a lawyer, but have experience with trucks running train horns off compressors, and they are crazy loud. I have had numerous friends run these, and they were usually pretty good about using them around people. If someone used it to actually honk at someone, they are a douchebag, per your illustration. Per California CVC, but no horn shall emit an unreasonably loud or harsh sound. So it's subjective, but pretty sure that the local PD/CHP, not sure who responded exactly to the accident, will cite him for this. I know everyone is jumping on the "you are in control of your vehicle at all times," but my question would be, is it a reasonable assumption that this accident would not have taken place if the truck did not use his horn? Was there any indication that the accident would have still happened if he did not use his horn, or was the accident a direct cause from the horn and the cascading events that took place after? Again, not a lawyer, but really interested in the outcome of this. And now, update. California, douche with a train horn on his truck, I am not at fault. My car was towed pretty quickly after the accident, and once I gave my statement, my wife picked me up and took me to the auto shop that I asked the tow truck driver to drive the car to. So my insurance is going to sue the guy for the cost of the repair. My adjuster is not pleased with the situation. He met me at the auto shop a couple days after the accident, and he was just shaking his head all the while saying, "This is so frickin' stupid. A train horn. Really?" Right now, I am looking at $7,400 worth of damage on my 2017 S60 T6 Volvo. I love this car, and I'm so pissed off that it has been in an accident. Tiny Dick Truck Douche actually had his car towed and impounded because he disabled the factory horn. Therefore, according to the police, his car was lacking basic safety equipment required by California law and was not roadworthy. Petty, I know, but oh so satisfying. The main responding cop called me this AM to tell me all of this, and that I, along with the guy I hit, he did indeed hit car number 3, will not be ticketed. They concluded that involuntary jerk of the wheel due to hearing a train horn next to our cars was what caused the accident. We will likely be summoned to court to testify against this guy in some kind of criminal trial. The cop went on to tell me that he wrote him up for everything he possibly could. Cop gave me a brief rundown. I do not remember it all, but his exhaust was illegally modified. He did not have mud flaps, his tint was too dark. Sounds like they went through his car with a fine-toothed comb. They gave him a couple other tickets pertaining to being the cause of the accident. Basically, loud horn disturbed the peace, creating unsafe driving conditions, etc. So apparently this guy is known in the area. Calls have been made before about a dark-coloured lifted truck making a loud horn noise, and the cops know all about him. This seemed like it was their chance to finally nab him and his childish antics. Don't know what's going to happen to my insurance rate, but at least no points on my license. So I am sure it will be some time before I have a final update, but that's what's going on with me. Unfortunately that was posted a year ago, and that's our update, guys. Our next post is by user Dianosaurus Rex, titled, "Doctor sent me to get blood work at an in-network diagnostic center, and I've been sent a $1,700 bill with a note saying these charges were denied payment by insurance based on the diagnosis reported by the physician." Ooh, that was a mouthful. The title says it all, basically. This is in California. I went in for a checkup with a new doctor since I haven't been to a doctor in about 8 years. He ordered blood tests and then never called me for a follow-up. So I never went back, assuming the blood tests came back fine. Now I have this huge bill from the blood test center that's been denied by insurance. I only make $18,000 a year since I only work part-time while I'm in school, and I spend it all on bills. I have no savings and no way to pay for this. What should I do? Call the doctor's office and explain what happened. That you came in for an annual exam, the doctor ordered a routine annual blood work, and somehow something went wrong. because your insurance thinks the doctor diagnosed you with something and that you have no idea what's going on. Someone at the doctor's office should be able to explain what happened and correct it. That someone might be hard to find, and that someone might have to be persuaded to reach out to the lab that did the work if that's necessary. But there's no way you should be paying $1,700 for some routine blood work, so don't let this drop. I'd show up in person, documentation in tow. Edit, why does everyone seem to think I would be yelling at someone? You're just clearing up a billing issue, it doesn't have to get nasty. I'm just saying it helps because it forces them to address the issue right then and there. The person who is able to rectify the situation may not be the person at the desk. They may not even be in the office at all. I have dealt with offices that had a third-party coders that did the insurance billing. The other nice thing about sending an email is that you have a record of the conversation if you need to escalate the situation later. That would be unnecessarily confrontational. Use the phone or send an email. You can always get more insistent later. And our good friend Deleted says, tell your doctor what happened and ask him to change the diagnostic code and resubmit. I worked in a doctor's office and we have done this before. Usually they'll need to write a letter clarifying why the tests were necessary. Heathen91 says, 1. Call your insurance company to figure out exactly what is wrong with the diagnosis code that was submitted. 2. Call the doctor's office and explain, and ask for them to send a corrected claim to the lab for a new diagnosis code. The lab will then send a corrected claim to your insurance. I work in health insurance, and I've seen lab claims denied for the same reason countless times. Sometimes the doctor will send the diagnosis code for unspecified other conditions, which is not specific enough for health insurance to pay. It really shouldn't be a big deal for the doctor's office to fix. P.S. Don't call them guns a-blazin'. The old saying, you catch more flies with honey than vinegar, is super relevant here. Best of luck. My least favorite part of my job is picking up a phone and immediately getting screamed at because a patient got themselves all worked up over something I would be more than happy to fix for them. And now, update. Charged $1,700 for lab work that insurance denied as medically unnecessary. Fixed. Edit, this is in California. I just wanted to start off by saying thank you to everyone who commented and gave advice. I really appreciate all the help. Here is what I ended up doing. I called my own insurance company to find out why it was denied. I found out that, because of my dad's specific insurance plan, I was supposed to go to a specific doctor's office and lab for my yearly checkup and blood work that is near my parents' house because the insurance has a specific contract with them. I didn't go there because I live a few hundred miles away. However, my address is listed as my parents' address, so the insurance company thought I lived nearby. They said I could appeal with an address change, but the woman on the phone was very upfront and said that those never get approved. She said that if I could get my doctor to change the billing code, just like all of you said, you noble, wonderful people, then the insurance company could review it. She also said that the old code had to be removed and a new one put in place. The new billing couldn't have both codes on it. So, I went to my doctor's office and brought in my bill. The admin at the front was so sympathetic and understanding and promised to take care of it within the next few days. I told her everything that the insurance lady told me, and she wrote it all down and clipped a copy of it to my bill. She said that the diagnostics place never even sent them my results. By that Friday, she had gotten my results and had me come in to find what they were, resubmitted the claim to insurance, and put a hold on all payments until it was figured out. Today I got my new bill in the mail. All the blood work was covered, my new bill is $0. I cried all over the place, you guys. I'm planning on bringing that admin a thank you card and maybe a Starbucks card and flowers. Hopefully she's allowed to take them. Thank you all so much for your advice and help. You are all the best. You literally helped me from having to pay 10% of my yearly wages. Plus, I started saving up in preparation for having to pay this bill, so now I have the beginnings of a little nest egg/emergency fund, just in case something happens in the future. Again, you guys rock. Alright, and our last post today is by user Ferristastic. titled, "My 18 female, anti-vax mum, 34 female, refuses to give me my documents that I need to get vaccinated and encourages my family to harass me." Hello Reddit. I don't quite know if this is the right place to post this, but I appreciate any help I can get. Sorry about my English. I recently turned 18, and until now, my mother still had all my documents like my birth certificate, my bank account stuff, and of course my vaccination certificate. I never had any problem with that because I knew she kept it safe and didn't misuse it to hurt me or something. At least until now. A bit of backstory. I was vaccinated as a baby, but sometime in between then and now, my mother got it into her head that vaccines are harmful. My mum's pretty naive. The kind of person that reads something on Facebook and assumes it must be true and doesn't actually look up sources or even Google anything, ever. Because of that, she thinks vaccines cause mental illness, don't help, and are all just a big gimmick by the pharma industry. You get what I mean. Obviously, I learned about vaccines in biology, and I informed myself about them, so I know that's all BS. When I was 14 and knew it was about time my vaccinations get refreshed, I asked my mum to go to the doctor with me to get them. But my mum refused to allow me. "You can do what you want when you're 18, she said. Thing is, I turned 18 recently, and the first thing I looked into was finally getting my vaccinations. I got infected with whooping cough last year, and it was the worst 7 weeks of my life, and I had injuries along my ribs because of it that took entire months to heal. It could have been prevented if I had just been vaccinated, and I want to take those precautions concerning my health now. So I made an appointment with my doctor for the 25th of this month. I assumed it wouldn't be a problem, because I'm 18 now and there's nothing my mum can do to stop me. Or so I thought. She is vehemently refusing to hand over my vaccination certification, which my doctor said I should bring with me. We've had a lot of fights about it, and no matter what I say or how many facts about vaccines I tell her, she isn't listening to anything, because I have no life experience and she knows a doctor from her anti-vax Facebook group who says vaccines cause autism. She vaguely posted about me in her anti-vax Facebook group, talking about her poor child with no life experience who's blinded by the pharma industry. She's also talked about me with people in our family that have the same views as her. Since then, random Facebook people I don't know and members of my own family have been constantly sending me messages and even calling me, trying to talk me out of getting vaccinated and telling me I'm stupid. I feel like I can't go to family gatherings anymore because I will be harassed and put on the spot, and my mother would encourage it. I just want to get vaccinated in peace, but she won't give me my vaccination certificate and the 25th is getting closer. So I want to ask, is what she is doing illegal? And in the likely case she won't give me my documents in the next few days, can I still get my vaccinations without it? I don't actually intend to press any charges against my mother. I would have nowhere to go and no money without her. But maybe I can pressure her into giving me the documents if I tell her she's committing a crime. Edit 1, I'm from Germany. You don't need the certificate to get vaccinated. Given how long it's been, you probably need boosters for all of them anyway. This right here. The doctor will have asked that you bring the certificate to make it easier for him to find out what vaccinations you do or do not have, but it's not a medical necessity. As others have mentioned, there are blood tests that can determine your antibody levels, and a lot can be learned about talking to you about your medical history, i.e., do you remember receiving shots around kindergarten or 4th grade? Plenty of people lose their records over the years. Even if your doctor isn't able to pull your records digitally, I'm not sure how medical records work in Germany, he or she will be far more interested in ensuring you're protected by the appropriate vaccines than whether you can produce the right paperwork. I'm really sorry your mother is giving you such a hard time about this. It seems like you have otherwise fine relationship with her. It sucks that something so asinine is causing an issue for you both. I couldn't get my records for a while, and I ended up just getting everything all over again, as it was cheaper for me with my insurance to do that, versus run my titers except for my chickenpox. Germany, of course, is different, but vaccines are very safe, and it would likely be okay to start from scratch. As a fellow German, you're 18 now and can do whatever you want. Just go to your doctor's appointment and explain the situation. They need to keep records for 10 years, but I assume that you haven't been vaccinated within a decade. So that is moot and you need a booster at least anyway. In your situation, the doctor will most likely just give you everything again, as, at least according to German Health Office, just to say I am not giving a healthcare advice, there is no danger in it. Here is an article on what happens if you lose your vaccination pass. I assume your mum told you that you can't get vaccinated without those papers, which is simply not true. Talk to your doctors and you'll be fine. Legally, there is very little to do. German courts usually side with free speech, and I would personally just take a step back from the family. And in the post, OP has 2 more edits. Edit 2, thank you everyone for the replies and the support. I appreciate all the help. And edit 3, I'm blown away by all the support you have shown me, Reddit. Thank you so much, guys. To everyone worried about my bank account, I have already made a new one. Before turning 18, I had an account for minors that my mother had access to. She has never abused this or taken money from me. When I was 18, I made a few new ones which only I have access to, so no worries. Thank you for reading. I hope some of you can help me out. That was posted a year ago, and there were no updates posted further than that, but I think it's easy to say here that she's 18, she can make her own decisions, she definitely went to the doctor and had these shots made, so it seems like a happy ending to me. Reddit gave some good advice, and this is legal advice after all, so hey, I'm happy with it, and I hope you're happy with it. This has been Markee today, guys. I hope you have a good day, night sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you in the next episode. Have a good one. Bye.